Hello, English learners! Welcome back to Talk English Now. I'm Sarah, and today we're going to talk about something that will completely change the way you understand English words. You'll discover how to understand almost any English word without always running to a dictionary. By learning how to build your vocabulary through context, daily life, and smart practice. Before we start, I just want to let you know that we upload daily English learning videos every single day. So make sure to subscribe, turn on the bell icon, and keep learning with us every day. Now let's begin. Have you ever been reading something or listening to someone and you come across a word you don't know? And you immediately stop and grab your phone to search for its meaning? I know that feeling. But what if I told you that most of the time, you don't actually need to open a dictionary to understand the word? Because English gives you little clues, like tiny hints, that help you guess the meaning from the context. Context simply means the situation, the words around the word, or the topic being discussed. For example, if someone says, "She was exhausted after running for 2 hours," even if you don't know the word exhausted, you can probably guess that it means very tired. Because of the situation, running for 2 hours, your brain connects it naturally. When you start to pay attention to these clues, you train your brain to think in English, and that's the real secret of vocabulary building. It's not about memorizing long lists of words. It's about understanding how words live, breathe, and behave in real life. Let's try this together. Imagine someone says, "After the heavy rain, the streets were flooded." Even if you didn't know the word flooded, you could look at the word rain and streets and guess that flooded probably means full of water. That's context learning. You see, every English word is part of a story. Now, another powerful way to understand new words is by learning prefixes and suffixes. These are small parts that you add to the beginning or end of a word to change its meaning. For example, take the word happy. If we add the prefix un at the start, we get unhappy, which means not happy. If we add ness at the end, we get happiness, which means the state of being happy. So you see, prefixes and suffixes are like secret codes. Once you know them, you can unlock the meaning of hundreds of words without memorizing each one. Let's practice this idea. If you know the word help, then helpful means giving help, and helpless means without help. Simple, right? Another one. Use, useful, useless. When you notice patterns like this, your English understanding grows automatically. Another helpful trick is learning word families. A word family is a group of words that come from the same root or base. For example, from act, we can make action, active, actor, and activity. All these words are connected by the same idea, doing something. When you recognize word families, you don't have to learn each word separately. You understand the connection instantly. So if you learn just one base word well, you can understand 5, 10, or even 20 words that come from it. That's how native speakers understand words quickly. They see the pattern, not just the single word. Now let's look at how to build vocabulary naturally through daily life practice. Every day you hear English around you, in songs, movies, YouTube videos, maybe even at work or school. Instead of trying to translate every word, just listen and feel the meaning through the situation. For example, when you hear a character in a movie say, "I barely slept last night," look at their tone and expression. You'll notice they look tired. So, barely must mean almost not at all. That's real-life learning. Here's something simple you can do every day. Choose one English scene, a movie clip, a YouTube video, or even a short conversation, and listen without subtitles first. Try to understand the feeling, the situation, then listen again with subtitles. Focus on one or two new words and try to guess what they mean before checking the dictionary. When you finally check, your brain will already have built a natural connection to that word, and you'll remember it longer. Another great exercise is to talk to yourself in English using those new words. Let's say you learned the word curious. You can practice by saying, "I'm curious about how this works," or "My little brother is very curious." The more you use the word in your own life, the stronger your memory becomes. You can also make your home your English world. Label objects around your room with their English names, like mirror, window, cup, door, notebook. And every time you see them, say the words aloud. Over time, your brain stops translating and starts thinking directly in English. Now let's practice a few sentences together. I'll say a sentence, and I want you to repeat after me. Slowly, and imagine the meaning. She was delighted to see her old friends again. Delighted means very happy. Repeat again. She was delighted to see her old friends again. Next one. The movie was absolutely hilarious. Hilarious means very funny. Repeat it again. The movie was absolutely hilarious. Now here's another. He whispered something in her ear. Whispered means spoke very softly. Repeat after me. He whispered something in her ear. You see how your mind connects the meaning naturally through examples. That's exactly how you learned your first language, by connecting words with situations, not translations. When you focus on understanding through feelings and situations, English becomes more than just grammar. It becomes alive. That's what I want for you, to feel the language, not just study it. Now, let's talk about one of the most common mistakes learners make. Many students believe they need to memorize hundreds of words every week to improve vocabulary. But that's not true. If you learn only 5 new words a day but really understand and use them, that's enough. Because those 5 words will grow into 50 more through connections and families. Think of your vocabulary like a tree. The base words are the roots, and every new related word is a branch or a leaf. If you water the roots, the base words, your vocabulary tree will grow strong and wide on its own. Let's take another example. The word teach. From this one word you get teacher, teaching, reteach, and unteachable. So learning one root gives you several related forms automatically. If you're enjoying this lesson, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more daily English practice. It really helps the channel grow, and it helps us keep bringing you free English lessons every day. Now, let's explore another strategy, using emotions to remember words. When you connect a new word to an emotion or personal experience, it stays longer in your memory. For example, if you learn the word nervous, think of a time when you felt nervous, maybe before an exam or an interview. That feeling will help the word stick. Try this with me. Think of the word excited. Now imagine something that excites you, maybe traveling, meeting a friend, or starting a new job. When you connect the word to that feeling, you'll never forget it. Our brain loves stories, emotions, and connections. That's why reading stories, watching English dramas, and listening to podcasts are amazing ways to build vocabulary without memorization. Every story gives you context, feelings, and examples, all the elements your brain needs to learn naturally. So from now on, whenever you meet a new word, don't just rush to translate it. Pause. Look at the situation, the sentence, the feeling. Guess the meaning, and use your creativity. And remember, learning English is not about being perfect. It's about making progress every single day. When you start seeing words as living parts of a language, not just symbols in a dictionary, you begin to experience English in a whole new way. You realize that the more you listen, the more you read, and the more you speak, the more meanings reveal themselves naturally. You don't have to chase every word. Words come to you when you open your ears and pay attention to how they're used in real life. Now, let's talk about something really powerful: how to guess meanings through word form and position in a sentence. Sometimes, even if you've never seen a word before, you can tell what kind of word it is just by looking at it. For example, if a word ends with ally, like quickly, slowly, or happily, you can tell it's an adverb. It describes how something happens. If a word ends with -tien, like creation or information, you can usually guess it's a noun, something you can name or talk about. Let's try a quick exercise. Listen to this sentence. The explanation was very clear. You might not know explanation, but you can recognize -chen at the end, so you can guess it's something like a thing that explains. And you'd be right. That's how English gives you hints. You just need to know how to look for them. Now here's something I really want you to remember. English vocabulary is not just about memorizing single words. It's about learning connections between them. For example, the word move is connected to movement, movie, remove, immovable, emotion. Yes, even emotion, because it comes from Latin roots meaning to move out. That's why emotions are things that move us inside. Isn't that interesting? When you learn in this connected way, your vocabulary expands faster than you can imagine, because one idea opens the door to many others. Let's practice this concept with some short examples you can repeat after me. Learning English improves communication. Now, the base word here is communicate. From it we get communication, communicative, uncommunicative, community. Try repeating after me. Learning English improves communication. Feel how one base word grows into many connected meanings. Here's another. The discovery was surprising. The base word is discover, and from it we have discovery, discoverer, undiscovered. These are not just random words, they're a family. Now, I want to talk to you about an even more natural way to remember new words through stories and daily life events. Your brain remembers information that's emotional, meaningful, or personal. If I say, "Yesterday I was drenched because of the heavy rain," you immediately imagine me standing in the rain, wet from head to toe. Now you'll probably remember the word drenched because your brain has a picture and a feeling attached to it. That's why storytelling is one of the best language learning techniques in the world. You don't need to read big novels. Even a small story from your daily life can make learning easier. For example, think about what happened to you today. Maybe you missed the bus, maybe you tried a new recipe, or maybe you met someone interesting. Try describing that in English, using new words you've learned. You'll see how naturally the vocabulary comes to life. Let's practice this together. Imagine this small story. I woke up late this morning. I rushed to get ready and missed my breakfast. When I reached the bus stop, the bus had already left. I was frustrated, but I decided to walk. Now, from that short story, you can pick out several useful words: rushed, missed, frustrated, decided. You might not know all of them, but you can guess from the situation. Rushed means moved quickly. Missed means didn't catch. Frustrated means upset or annoyed. And decided means made a choice. That's context learning in real action. When you connect vocabulary to a story, your brain stores it in memory much more effectively because the words are no longer random. They're connected to a real human experience. Let's do another short exercise together. I'll give you a few sentences and you'll try to guess the meaning from context. Don't worry if you don't get it perfect. Guessing is part of learning. The teacher looked furious when the students were late. Now think, what does furious mean? The teacher was angry, right? That's it. Furious means very angry. Next sentence. After climbing for hours, they finally reached the summit. What do you think summit means? The word finally reached gives you a clue. It means the top of a mountain. And one more. He felt relieved after finishing his presentation. What does relieved mean? The situation tells you he felt calm, free from stress, maybe happy that it's over. You see, when you practice this kind of guessing every day, your mind becomes like a detective. It starts noticing patterns, sounds, and meanings automatically. Now let's move into one of my favorite tips: how to train your listening to build vocabulary faster. When you listen to native speakers, pay attention to phrases, not individual words. For example, instead of learning the word break, learn phrases like break the ice, break down, break up, break into. Each phrase has a different meaning, and these small differences teach you how flexible English really is. This also helps your speaking, because instead of thinking word by word, you start thinking in chunks, small natural pieces of English that native speakers use all the time. Try repeating these with me slowly. Let's break the ice. That means to start a friendly conversation. My car broke down. That means it stopped working. They broke up last week. That means they ended their relationship. Someone broke into my house. That means someone entered without permission. You see, the same word break changes meaning completely depending on what follows it. That's why phrases are the secret to sounding fluent and understanding fast English. Now here's a fun exercise. Pick a simple word like get. Write down all the phrases you hear with get, like get up, get along, get through, get over, get ready, get tired. Then, for each phrase, make a small sentence from your own life. I get up at 7 a.m. I get along with my coworkers. I get tired after studying too much. This kind of practice makes English stick in your mind. You can do the same with take, make, go, or come. These simple words have hundreds of uses in English, and learning them in chunks makes your speaking faster, smoother, and more natural. When you learn through these small word combinations, you don't just understand words, you understand how English works in real life. Another key part of vocabulary building is listening repeatedly to the same content. Don't worry about finding something new every day. Choose a single video, podcast, or conversation and listen to it again and again. The first time, you'll catch only a few words. The second time, you'll understand more. By the third or fourth time, your brain begins to predict what's coming. That's when fluency begins. Repetition is not boring. It's training. It's how your brain builds automatic understanding. So tomorrow, when you listen to English, don't rush to finish it. Play it again. Notice the expressions, the tone, the rhythm. Try to repeat some parts after the speaker. Shadow them softly and copy their natural flow. This will not only help you remember words, but also make your pronunciation smoother. Let's do a quick shadowing practice right now. I'll say a few sentences slowly. You repeat them after me. I'm learning English every day. Each new word makes me stronger. I understand more and more without translation. I enjoy the sound of English. You're doing great. Feel the rhythm, not just the words. That's how your ear becomes trained. Now let's go back to context learning one more time. Whenever you hear or read a new word, always ask yourself these 3 questions. First, what is happening in this situation? Second, what kind of word is this? Noun, verb, adjective. And third, what emotion or idea does it carry? You'll be surprised how often you can answer all 3 just by observing. Let's try one together. The sky was gloomy, and it started to rain. What do you think gloomy means? The situation tells you it's about the sky. Before rain probably means dark or sad-looking. Perfect. This kind of natural observation is exactly what will help you understand any English word, even without a dictionary. So far, you've learned how to use context, word families, prefixes, suffixes, and repetition to understand words naturally. Now, let's talk about something equally important: confidence. Because understanding new words is not just about memory. It's also about trusting your brain to figure things out. Most English learners lose confidence when they meet unfamiliar words. They stop, panic, or feel that they're not good enough. But the truth is, even native speakers meet new words all the time. They don't know every word in the dictionary either. What they do differently is this: they stay calm and use logic, experience, and context to guess meaning. That's exactly what you can do too. Let me tell you a small story. A few years ago, one of my students was watching English movies with subtitles. Every time she saw a new word, she paused the movie, checked the dictionary, and wrote it down. After a few weeks, she had pages and pages of vocabulary lists, but she couldn't remember most of them. Then she tried something different. She started listening and guessing the meanings from context without pausing. She stopped translating and focused on feelings, tone, and the situation. And guess what? Her understanding improved faster than ever before. That's the magic of natural learning. When you stop trying to control every word, your brain starts working for you. Here's a practice you can do right now. Next time you read an English paragraph, skip the dictionary completely. Read the paragraph once and try to guess the meaning of any difficult words using clues. Then, check the meanings later only to confirm if you were close. This way, your brain stays active and learns to think in English rather than just translate. Let's do an example together. Listen to this short story. Emma looked at the dark clouds and felt uneasy. The wind howled loudly through the trees. Suddenly, thunder rumbled, and heavy rain began to pour. Now, if you didn't know the word uneasy, you could still guess. It's probably the opposite of comfortable or relaxed, right? That's how context helps you understand feelings. Now let's talk about word emotion again, because every word has an emotional color. Some words are neutral, some are positive, and some are negative. For example, slim and skinny both mean thin, but slim is positive, and skinny often sounds negative. Curious means you want to know something, but nosy means you ask too many personal questions. Same meaning, different feeling. When you start noticing these emotional differences, your vocabulary becomes more natural, more human. You stop sounding like a textbook and start sounding like a real person. Now here's a small emotional vocabulary exercise. I'll give you pairs of words, and I want you to notice how they feel. Cheap and inexpensive. They both mean not costly, but cheap sometimes sounds negative, like poor quality. Smart and clever. They both mean intelligent, but smart sounds more modern and positive, while clever can sound a little sneaky, depending on the tone. Lazy and relaxed. They both describe calmness, but lazy is negative, while relaxed is positive. You see, vocabulary isn't just about knowing the meaning, it's about feeling the tone. Now let's bring this into real-world practice. Think about your daily routine in English. You wake up, brush your teeth, eat breakfast, go to work or school, talk to people, come home, relax, and sleep. You already have so many opportunities every single day to use English words naturally. Here's what you can do. Pick one part of your day and describe it in English using the new words you've learned. For example, you could say, I usually wake up around 7. I feel a little sleepy at first, but after a cup of coffee, I feel refreshed. Then I get dressed quickly because I'm often in a hurry. See how many simple but powerful words you've used? Sleepy, refreshed, dressed, quickly, hurry. None of them are advanced, but they make your English sound fluent and alive. Let's try another example. After work, I like to unwind by watching a show or going for a walk. Sometimes I cook dinner while listening to English podcasts. It helps me relax and practice at the same time. Here, unwind means to relax after being busy. You learned a new word just by hearing it in context. That's how real learning happens, through meaningful moments, not memorization. Now, one thing that often stops learners from growing their vocabulary is fear of mistakes. But here's the truth. Mistakes are not your enemy. They're your best teachers. Every time you guess a word incorrectly, your brain still learns something valuable. It adjusts, corrects, and remembers better the next time. So don't be afraid to guess wrong. That's part of how children learn their first language. They guess, they're corrected, and they try again. You can do the same in English, no matter your age. Let's try a guess and check exercise together. I'll read a few sentences. You'll try to guess the word's meaning from context. Ready? The water was crystal clear, and we could see the fish swimming below. What does crystal clear mean? It means very clean or easy to see through. Next one, the baby was giggling while playing with the toy. What does giggling mean? It means laughing in a soft, happy way. And one more, the news was shocking and everyone was speechless. Speechless means so surprised that you can't speak. You did great. See how your brain connects pictures, emotions, and meanings automatically? That's how English fluency grows quietly every day. Another key to understanding new words is listening for patterns. English has patterns everywhere: sound patterns, sentence patterns, and rhythm patterns. For example, you might notice that adjectives often come before nouns. A big house, a delicious meal, a friendly smile. So even when you don't know what the adjective means, you know it's describing something. Let's say you hear, "They stayed at a luxurious hotel." Even if you don't know the word luxurious, you know it describes hotel, so it's probably something positive, like comfortable or expensive. That's logic, not translation. You can practice this by listening carefully to how words are used together. Listen for collocations, which are natural combinations of words that often appear together, like make a decision, take a shower, have a meal, do homework, give advice. These combinations are what make your English sound smooth and natural. Let's repeat a few. Make a decision, take a shower, give advice, do homework, have a conversation. Notice how these pairs always sound right together. You wouldn't say do a decision or make homework. That's because English has its own music, and once you hear it often enough, you'll start to feel which words belong together. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to memorize these combinations. Just listen to lots of English, and your brain will collect them naturally over time. Now, one more strategy for building vocabulary through daily practice is what I call the word of the day habit. Each morning, pick one new English word, something simple but useful, and try to use it several times during the day. Write it in your notes, say it out loud, or make a few sentences in your head. For example, if your word of the day is grateful, you can say, "I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for this cup of coffee." Repetition and emotional connection make it yours. The next day, choose another word, like improve, and use it often. I want to improve my English. This lesson helps me improve. I can see my confidence improving. When you repeat and reuse a word in your own life, it becomes a part of your thinking. And when you think in English, you stop translating. Let's make this interactive. What's one new word you learned today from this video? Say it out loud right now. Try using it in your own sentence. If you want, you can even comment it below this video to share your progress. Because saying it and writing it are both forms of active learning. You see, the more you use English, the more you own it. Now that you're beginning to think in English rather than translate, let's explore how to keep your progress consistent every day. Because learning vocabulary isn't just about one big effort, it's about small daily habits that keep your brain connected to the language. Here's something I always tell my students. Treat English like a friend you talk to every day. You don't need long conversations, just small check-ins. You can say good morning to English when you wake up, listen to a short clip, read a few lines from a book, or describe your morning in your head using English words. Even 5 minutes counts. Let's try this together. Imagine you're waking up right now. Think in English. The sunlight is coming through my window. I stretch my arms. I feel warm and a little sleepy, but I'm ready for the day. You just created a natural English moment without even opening a textbook. That's how real vocabulary learning happens. It sneaks into your daily life quietly and becomes part of who you are. Another powerful practice is shadowing daily conversations. Shadowing means listening and repeating what you hear immediately, copying the pronunciation and rhythm. You can do this with any audio, this video, a podcast, or even movie dialogues. You don't need to sound perfect, just let your mouth and brain move together. Let's try a small shadowing exercise now. I'll say short sentences and you repeat after me. I learn English naturally every day. I understand new words through context. I don't need to translate, I can guess the meaning. I feel more confident every time I speak. Good. Notice how your confidence grows when you repeat real sentences with emotion and rhythm. That's what builds natural fluency, not memorizing lists. Now let's talk about the art of noticing. Fluent English speakers aren't faster because they know all the words. They're faster because they notice patterns. For example, when you hear someone say, "I'm running late," your brain might recognize running and think it means exercise, but in this context, it means being delayed. Once you notice that pattern, you'll understand it instantly the next time you hear it. So, your job as an English learner is to notice. Listen carefully to how words are used together, how they change meaning, and how tone changes the message. For example, the phrase, "you're kidding," can mean "you're joking" when said with laughter, but it could sound annoyed if said sharply. The same words, different feeling. That's the magic of noticing. Here's a practice for that. Choose a short English video or audio and listen 3 times. First time, just enjoy it, no stress. Second time, listen for new words or phrases and try to guess their meaning. Third time, focus on how those words sound in the sentence, how the speaker's voice changes, how the emotion feels. When you repeat this process every day, your ears become trained to hear meaning even before you translate it. Let's talk about another tool that helps you understand words instantly: word chunks. A chunk is a small group of words that often appear together, like "as soon as possible," "by the way," or "at the end of the day." These are not just separate words, they work as one single piece. When you learn chunks, you understand meaning instantly without thinking about grammar. Let's practice a few chunks together. Repeat after me slowly. As a matter of fact, at the same time. On the other hand, by the way, at the end of the day. See how natural they sound? Each chunk has its own rhythm, its own role in conversation. The more chunks you know, the smoother your English becomes. Now, let's connect this to daily life. Imagine you're talking to a friend about your day. You could say, "At the end of the day, I just want to relax." Or, "By the way, have you seen that movie?" Or, "As a matter of fact, I'm learning English online." These small expressions make your speech sound fluent, confident, and natural. Another technique you can use to remember vocabulary is to connect it to images and senses. Our brains love pictures. If you can see or feel a word, you'll remember it forever. For example, if you learn the word salty, imagine the taste of ocean water or chips. If you learn rough, imagine the feel of sandpaper. Soft, think of a pillow. Bright, picture sunlight. These mental images help words stay alive in your memory. Now, let's add a little creativity. You can also draw or visualize new words. Write them in a notebook and add a small doodle next to each word, a smiling face for happy, a cloud for confused, a sun for bright. It doesn't need to be perfect art. It's about linking meaning to a picture. Another tip that works like magic: use your 5 senses when learning. When you study a new word, ask yourself, what does it look like, sound like, smell like, taste like, or feel like? This activates more parts of your brain, which helps memory stick. Let's try it with the word fresh. What does fresh smell like? Maybe bread or flowers. What does it look like? Maybe green leaves or clean air. When you imagine that, the word becomes alive. Now, I want you to understand something very important. Fluency doesn't mean knowing every word. Fluency means being able to understand the main idea and express yourself even when you forget some words. You can always describe what you mean using simple English. For example, if you forget the word ceiling, you can say, the top of the room. If you forget broom, you can say, something used to clean the floor. That's real communication, creative, confident, and practical. Native speakers do this too. They use simple language all the time. So, never think your English must be complicated to sound good. Simple English is powerful when it's used clearly and naturally. Now, here's a challenge for you. For 1 week, try this simple habit. Choose one topic each day, like food, weather, work, travel, or emotions, and think about how you would describe it in English using words you already know. For example, if the topic is weather, you could say, it's windy today. The sky looks gray. I hope it doesn't rain. These small exercises train your brain to think quickly in real situations. And remember, your brain loves consistency more than intensity. Studying English for 10 minutes every day is better than studying for 2 hours once a week, because daily exposure builds automatic understanding. Here's a nice rhythm you can follow. Listen, repeat, think, speak. Listen to something in English, repeat what you hear, think about its meaning, and then use it in your own sentence. This 4-step cycle will make your vocabulary strong and natural. Let's do a short daily routine simulation right now. Listen, I'm preparing breakfast. Repeat, I'm preparing breakfast. Think, what does it mean? You're making food in the morning. Speak, I'm preparing breakfast for my family. Another one. Listen, I'm running late. Repeat, I'm running late. Think, it means you're not on time. Speak, I'm running late for work. You can practice this with any sentence you hear. It's simple, but it's how fluency grows. And as you keep practicing like this, something beautiful happens. You start to feel English. You stop translating and start understanding directly. You notice tone, emotion, and rhythm naturally. That's when English becomes not just a language but a part of your daily life. Before we end this section, here's one last mini practice. Repeat slowly after me and imagine the meaning. I can understand any English word through context. I trust my brain to learn naturally. I enjoy the process of learning. I'm improving every day. Beautiful. You're doing great. Every repetition strengthens your understanding and confidence. Now that you're training your brain to think in English through repetition and daily habits, let's go a little deeper into how you can make every English moment meaningful. Because vocabulary learning isn't just about adding new words, it's about making words yours. You see, every word in English has a story, a feeling, and a situation where it lives naturally. When you attach that story to your own life, the word sticks like glue. For example, the word achievement might feel abstract when you just read it in a book, but when you think of your own success, like finishing a course or learning to cook something new, the word suddenly becomes alive. That's how you build emotional memory with vocabulary. Let's try this now. Think of the word challenge. What does it mean to you personally? Maybe learning English itself is a challenge. So when you hear that word, you don't just know the definition, you feel it. That feeling gives the word life inside you. Now, let's add some practice. I'll give you a few common English words, and I want you to connect each one to something in your daily life. Progress. Think of something you've been improving at, maybe speaking English more confidently or cooking better meals. Patience. Think of a moment you had to wait for something important. Confidence. Think of a time when you spoke up or tried something new, even if you were nervous. By doing this, you're not just learning English. You're building a bridge between language and experience, and that bridge makes your memory stronger than any dictionary ever could. Now let's explore another beautiful idea: how to expand vocabulary through synonyms and opposites. Every word has friends and opposites, and learning them helps you understand meanings more clearly. For example, big has synonyms like large, huge, enormous, massive, and its opposites are small, tiny, little. When you notice these families, you start to see how words dance together in English. Let's try a quick exercise. I'll say a word and you say its opposite. Ready, hot, cold, fast, slow, early, late, easy, difficult, safe, dangerous, excellent, terrible, great. You see how quickly your brain responds when you practice like this? It's because you already know these connections. You just need to use them often to make them automatic. Now let's talk about prefixes and suffixes again. But this time, let's apply them in real-life situations. Imagine you know the word possible. If you add im at the start, it becomes impossible, which means not possible. If you add possibility, it means something that can happen. The more you play with these forms, the more words you understand instantly. Here's a fun activity. Pick one simple word and see how many new words you can make by adding prefixes or suffixes. Let's take care. From care, you can make careful, careless, carefully, uncaring, caregiver, careful, and carelessness. All from one root. Let's try another. Kind. You can say unkind, kindness, kindly, kind-hearted. Do you see how this pattern opens new possibilities every time? You're not just memorizing, you're discovering relationships. Now, to make learning even more powerful, you should practice speaking out loud. Reading and listening are great, but speaking activates a different part of your brain. It's like telling your mind, "This word is useful, keep it." Try speaking these sentences aloud with me slowly. I am a careful person. She spoke kindly to everyone. It's possible to learn English naturally. His kindness made everyone smile. Speaking with emotion and rhythm makes you feel connected to the words. That's when vocabulary becomes part of your thinking, not just something you study. Now let's add another fun practice you can do alone. I call it the Describe It Challenge. Pick any object around you and describe it in as many ways as you can. For example, if you see a cup, you can say, "It's round, it's white, it's made of glass, it's filled with coffee, it feels warm, I use it every morning." You've just used adjectives, materials, and actions, all without a textbook. You can do this anywhere, at home, on the bus, in the kitchen. If you see your phone, you could say, "My phone is small and shiny. It connects me with friends. I use it to learn English." Every moment can be a mini English practice session if you let it. Now, let's go into something that makes learners sound advanced, collocations, or natural word pairings. You've already practiced a few, but let's dig deeper. Some words just belong together, like make a mistake, catch a cold, pay attention, have fun, take care. If you say, do a mistake, it sounds unnatural, but make a mistake is perfect. These combinations are what make English sound smooth. You can start collecting them like treasures. Here's a short practice. Repeat these after me slowly. Make a plan. Take a break. Have a look. Pay attention. Catch a bus. Keep calm. Lose weight. Get ready. Beautiful. You're now using English the same way native speakers do. You're not just memorizing single words, you're learning word music. Now, one of the best ways to remember collocations is by noticing them in real conversations or books. When you see a phrase like make progress or give advice, write it down as one piece, not two words. Later, try making your own examples. For instance, I'm making good progress in English. My teacher always gives good advice. That's how your vocabulary becomes connected, not isolated. Now let's talk about how to make English a part of your thoughts. When you're alone, instead of thinking in your native language, try describing what's happening around you in English quietly in your mind. For example, when you're cooking, think, I'm cutting the vegetables. I'm adding salt. The soup smells good. When you're walking, think, the weather feels cool. The birds are singing. This habit might feel strange at first, but it's one of the most powerful fluency exercises you can ever do. Because you're training your brain to think and speak directly in English without translation. Let's take a small moment to practice that right now. I'll describe a moment, and I want you to picture it and repeat after me in your mind. I'm sitting near the window. The sky looks bright. I can hear cars passing outside. I take a deep breath and feel calm. That's simple English, but it's alive. When you practice thinking this way, words connect naturally to feelings and moments. That's what true fluency feels like. Now, one of the biggest secrets to understanding any English word is curiosity. Stay curious about words. When you hear a new one, don't feel frustrated, feel excited. Every new word is a door to another piece of the English world. Ask yourself, where does this word come from? What other words look like it? When do people use it? For example, if you hear the word transportation, notice that it looks like transport and portable, both related to moving things. These small discoveries make vocabulary fun, like solving little mysteries every day. Here's another powerful mindset shift. Instead of saying, "I don't understand this word," start saying, "I don't understand this yet." That single word, yet, turns confusion into possibility. Now let's do a positive affirmation exercise to strengthen your mindset and motivation. Repeat these sentences slowly after me. I am confident when I learn English. I can guess meanings from context easily. I don't need a dictionary every time. I'm improving my English every day. I enjoy learning through real life. Beautiful. You're building not just vocabulary, but belief. And belief is the foundation of fluency. Remember, you are not just memorizing English. You're becoming someone who lives in English. Every sound, every sentence, every small effort you make today is shaping the fluent version of you that's coming soon. You're doing amazing so far. And I want you to realize something very important here. Understanding English words through context isn't just about language, it's also about trust. Trusting that your brain can learn naturally, the same way you learned your first language. You didn't start with a dictionary when you were a child, right? You listened, watched, guessed, and repeated. That's the same process we're bringing back now, but with awareness and purpose. Let's go deeper into how you can strengthen that natural process through your daily routines. Every time you hear English, try to notice patterns instead of words. For example, when someone says, "I'm looking forward to meeting you," don't stop at looking or forward. Notice the whole phrase, looking forward to. It's one expression meaning excited or happy about something in the future. Now you can use it too. I'm looking forward to my trip. I'm looking forward to watching that movie. I'm looking forward to learning more English. When you practice with real examples, your understanding becomes automatic. You can do the same with phrases like "I'm used to," "I'm thinking of," or "I'm tired of." Each one changes the meaning slightly, but you'll get the pattern faster when you connect it to emotion or real experience. Let's practice that now. Repeat slowly after me. I'm used to waking up early. I'm thinking of calling my friend. I'm tired of the same routine. I'm looking forward to the weekend. See how natural they sound when you connect them to your daily life. That's how fluency feels. It's not about grammar rules, it's about real connection. Now let's talk about something that often gets ignored: your listening habits. The way you listen affects how quickly you understand new words. If you listen only once, your brain catches the surface meaning. But when you listen many times, it starts hearing the details, the music of the language, and the meaning behind the tone. So here's what I recommend. Choose one short English video or podcast each week and listen to it every day. The first day, just relax and enjoy it. The second day, focus on the new words you hear. The third day, try to repeat sentences out loud. The fourth day, write down what you understood. By the fifth day, you'll understand almost everything naturally. You don't need hundreds of videos. You need depth, not quantity. Now, let's connect this to something fun: music. Music is one of the best teachers of context. When you listen to English songs, you don't need to understand every word to feel the meaning. Your brain catches rhythm, emotion, and patterns. That's why people remember song lyrics even when they don't study them. Try this exercise. Pick your favorite English song and listen carefully to one verse. Write down what you think it means, even if you're not sure. Then check the lyrics and confirm. That small guessing game will train your brain to understand faster. And don't forget, you can sing along too. It's not about being a good singer, it's about feeling the sound of English. Singing helps you remember pronunciation, rhythm, and emotion together. Now let's talk about confidence when speaking. Many learners hesitate to use new words because they're afraid of sounding wrong. But here's a secret. Fluency comes before perfection. If you wait to be perfect, you'll never start speaking. But if you start speaking now, perfection will slowly follow. Here's a mindset exercise that I want you to practice daily. Every time you learn a new word, say it out loud at least 3 times in different sentences. For example, if the word is improve, you can say, I want to improve my English. I'm improving every day. This video helps me improve. By using it actively, you're teaching your brain that this word is important. Let's try this now with a few new words. Repeat after me slowly and clearly. Confidence. I speak with confidence every day. Discover. I discover new words through stories. Journey. My English journey is exciting. Progress. I see progress every day. Curiosity. My curiosity helps me learn faster. Wonderful. Every time you say these words with emotion, you're creating muscle memory in your speech and mind. Now let's talk about something else. Reading for meaning instead of translation. When you read in English, don't try to understand every single word. Instead, focus on the main idea, the emotion, the picture in your mind. For example, if you read this, the little boy was shivering under the cold rain, holding a broken umbrella. Even if you don't know the word shivering, the sentence helps you feel it. It must mean trembling from cold. That's context learning again. It's the most powerful tool you have. Here's a short reading practice for you. I'll read a few sentences slowly. Don't translate, just imagine and feel the meaning. The wind was gentle, carrying the smell of rain. She smiled as the sunlight touched her face. The city was quiet, waiting for the morning to begin. Did you notice how you could understand the feeling even without analyzing each word? That's comprehension through experience, not translation. Now let's connect vocabulary to storytelling again, but this time, you will create the story. Choose 5 English words you've learned recently and write a short story using them together. It doesn't need to be perfect, just let it flow naturally. For example, if your words are curious, garden, rainy, discover, and smile, your story could be, it was a rainy afternoon. I walked through the garden, curious about what I might discover. Suddenly, I found a small flower growing through the mud, and it made me smile. That simple story connects words emotionally and visually. You'll remember those 5 words much longer now because they live inside your imagination. Now I want to give you a mindset that separates strong English learners from average ones. Great learners don't wait for perfect conditions, they create them. You don't need to travel to an English-speaking country. You can create an English environment right where you are. Here's how. Change your phone or social media language to English. Watch YouTube videos with English captions. Speak to yourself in English daily and surround yourself with words, sticky notes, labels, reminders, anything that keeps English visible in your world. When you live in an English environment, even for a few hours a day, your progress becomes unstoppable. And remember, understanding English words isn't about speed, it's about connection. The goal is not to know a lot of words, the goal is to feel comfortable with words you know and to grow from there naturally. Let's do a relaxation practice now to help your brain store everything you've learned today. Close your eyes if you can, take a deep breath, and repeat softly after me. I learn English with ease. I understand words from their stories. I'm surrounded by English every day. My confidence grows naturally. I'm proud of my progress. Feel that calm energy? That's your mind becoming ready for more learning, not tired of it. Now, before we finish this part, let's do a quick spoken reflection together. I'll ask you a few questions, and you can answer them out loud or in your mind. What's one English word you recently learned that made you smile? What's one word that describes how you feel when you study English? And what's one goal you have for the next 7 days? These reflections keep your learning personal because every learner has a different journey, and your words become powerful when they're connected to you. Every sentence you've spoken today has made your English stronger, smoother, and more natural. Keep going, because this journey is working. Even if you can't see the results every day, they're building quietly inside you. You've done beautifully so far. And this is the final stretch of our journey today. You've learned that understanding any English word is not about memorizing long lists or carrying a dictionary everywhere. It's about learning to see patterns, feel emotions, and trust the story behind every word. Every time you listen to English, you're training your brain to recognize meaning naturally. Every time you speak or write, you're building stronger connections between thoughts and words. And every time you notice a new phrase, you're becoming a little more fluent than before. Now let's talk about something that will keep your progress growing forever. Active noticing and joyful repetition. I call it living with words. Whenever you see a word, don't just look at it and move on. Talk to it in your mind. Ask yourself, where did I hear this before? What other words does it go with? How does it make me feel? For example, the word peaceful. Don't just say, it means calm. Instead, imagine a peaceful place, maybe a quiet morning, a soft breeze, the sound of birds. Feel that word in your body. That's how memory becomes emotion, and emotion becomes fluency. Now let's practice something very special. I'll guide you through a short daily English visualization. Close your eyes if you like, take a deep breath, and imagine this scene with me. You wake up early. The world is still quiet. You make a cup of tea and open your notebook. You write the word discover on the page. You whisper to yourself, I discover something new every day. You smile because you're not studying English anymore. You're living it. You step outside. The sky is clear. You notice a sign that says caution wet floor. You smile again because you know what caution means. It's a warning. You didn't look it up this time. You understood it from life. That's how English becomes your daily companion. Now, one of the biggest lessons I want you to take away is this. English learning should never feel like pressure. It should feel like growth, like discovery. Every new word you learn is a small gift, a window into another way of thinking, another way of seeing the world. So please don't worry if you don't understand every word right away. Every time you guess, every time you listen carefully, every time you use a new word in a sentence, you're getting closer to fluency. Let's do a short reflection activity together to lock in what we've learned. I'll say a statement, and I want you to repeat it softly after me, believing every word. I don't need a dictionary for every word. I can understand through context. I learn from daily life. I am improving naturally. I trust myself as an English learner. Good. These simple affirmations remind your mind that learning is a process, not a test. Now let's make your practice more fun. Try keeping a word journal, but not the usual kind. Instead of writing meanings, write memories. For example, if you learned the word journey, write where you first heard it, maybe in a movie, a book, or this very video. Write what it made you think of, maybe your own journey of learning English. That personal connection will make it unforgettable. Here's another fun idea. Talk to your environment in English. When you're cooking, say, "The water is boiling." When you're cleaning, say, "I'm wiping the table." When you're walking, say, "The air feels cool today." These small actions teach you vocabulary for real life, not for exams. And here's a challenge for you to try this week. Spend one full day thinking in English. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just try describing everything you do in simple English sentences. You'll be amazed by how much vocabulary you already know. Whenever you feel stuck, use context, not translation. Ask yourself, what's happening? What's the feeling here? What's the situation? The answer is usually right there in the sentence. For example, if you read, "The child was trembling with fear," even if you don't know trembling, you can sense it. It must mean shaking because of fear. Your brain already knows the emotion. And that's why I want you to celebrate how much you already understand. You are not a beginner anymore. You are a detective of language, discovering meaning through curiosity and attention. Now let's do one last interactive practice together. I'll give you a few short sentences and you'll listen and feel their meaning through context. She was thrilled to get the job. Even if you don't know thrilled, the situation tells you it means very happy or excited. The old house was abandoned for years. Abandoned means left behind or not cared for. He managed to finish the project on time. Managed means was able to. You see, you already know more English than you think. Now let's end this lesson with one last shadowing practice. Repeat these sentences after me slowly, clearly, and with confidence. I learn English with joy. I can understand new words from context. I am proud of my progress. I trust the process of learning. I speak English with confidence and calm. You're doing beautifully. You've come so far, and this is just the beginning. Every day your vocabulary will grow wider, your understanding deeper, and your confidence stronger. I want to thank you from the heart for spending this time learning with me today. Remember, language is not just about grammar or words, it's about connection, emotion, and expression. Keep practicing, Keep noticing and keep believing in yourself. Because the truth is, you already have everything you need to become fluent. You just have to keep going, one word, one sentence, one small victory at a time. You're not learning English, you're living it. Thank you for joining me today, my dear English learners. I'm so proud of you. Remember, every small effort you make is shaping your fluent future self. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell icon so you don't miss any of our daily English lessons. Take care, keep smiling, and I'll see you in the next lesson.